Welcome back, Defenders. This is really bad news for Russia. Ukrainian hackers claim massive cyber attack on Russia's Aeroflot. This is mainstream news. This is CNBC. Here's the Moscow Times. Aeroflot cancels dozens of flights after major cyber attack. It's not dozens, it's hundreds. It's basically every single flight. Hackers attack Russia's largest state airline, disrupting dozens of flights. They sign off "Glory to Ukraine, long live Belarus." The hackers claimed year-long access to Russia's flagship airline before destroying infrastructure, telling Russian security services, "You are incapable of protecting even your own key infrastructures." This was a Belarusian and a Ukrainian hacker group. They posted this on their Telegram channel, Silent Crow. As a result of the actions, about 7,000 physical and virtual servers were destroyed. The volume of information received was 12 terabytes of databases, 8 terabytes of files from Windows Share, and 2 terabytes of corporate email. All these resources are now inaccessible or destroyed, and restoration will require perhaps tens of millions of dollars. The damage is strategic. Part of the data we received will be published soon. We didn't just destroy the infrastructure, we left a trace. Glory to Ukraine, long live Belarus. Wow, so what is the damage? The airline's internal IT infrastructure has been effectively destroyed. Most systems remain non-functional. Computers are down both at the airports and in Aeroflot offices. Flight planning is impossible. Aircraft cannot be refueled. The basic coordination between crew members has broken down. Flight teams are unable to locate one another, and no one knows which planes are supposed to fly, where, or with whom. Only a few flights with pre-calculated logistics are managing to take off. Other crews arrive in complete uncertainty, receiving no instructions. Many are being sent home, others remain stuck on board, waiting for updates that never come. The airline's headquarters shut off their own electricity, a likely attempt to prevent further access to compromised systems. Staff have been ordered not to use their corporate email or internal devices. Okay. This is a nightmare. This is the Moscow airport. Here's the Aeroflot's board, and everything is red. Nothing is taking off. Now, this is just Russia's airline, so if Turkish Airlines or Emirati Airlines is still flying in Russia, I think those flights are still okay. This is just Aeroflot. This is Russia's state airline, and it's been destroyed. This is going to take months or years to fix this. And how do you do this? Russia doesn't have the time, they don't have the resources right now to address this. This is the joke on the internet. What are we calling Russia's airline? It's no longer Aeroflot, it's Aeroflop. Hackers who hacked Aeroflot revealed that the company uses outdated Windows XP, and the CEO has not changed his password in 3 years. Windows XP? This was released 24 years ago. Microsoft stopped issuing security updates for this operating system probably 10 years ago. So the Russians are idiots. I completely understand why they were hacked. And this is just funny. But this is disastrous for Russia's transportation industry. So here's the joke online. How is Putin going to react? What is Putin going to do? The Russian Minister of Transportation is probably heading for an open window or a nice hot cup of tea. So let's check in with Kremlin State TV, and this clip of Margarita is actually before the hacking. The Ukrainians have been launching drones in the St. Petersburg and Moscow areas. This has been shutting down airspace and flight delays, cancellations. It was already bad before the hacking. And this is what Margarita has to say, and she's surprisingly honest about what Ukraine is trying to do. Ukraine and all of them are trying to stage a revolt in our own country. Why are they creating a collapse of our airports at the height of the holiday season? Why did they launch a huge number of drones this week? I don't even know how many, to attack Sochi and Sirius. What type of military sites are in Sirius? It's just one big school. My children, who were there while I was in Moscow, spent the night in the hallway. There were 9 of them. 3 of them are mine and Tigran's. 2 are our nephews, who always live with us, and our godchildren and relatives also came for the summer. These 9 children slept on the floor in the hallway. What is it all for? What is the military strategy behind this? That's a good question, Margarita. Why does Russia bomb civilian cities every single night, which forces children to sleep in the subway stations? But let's continue. There is only one tactic to make sure that people who feel neutral about what is happening and do not stress about the children of Donbass. There are such people. There are many of them. I don't condemn them. I believe that not everyone should be politicized. Everyone is different. They are trying to sway these people so that they become politicized in the other direction, so that being able to fly on vacation somewhere by the sea becomes more important for them than the future of our country. The future of the country depends on the outcome of the SMO. The outcome of the SMO depends on the necessity to put up with children sleeping in the hallway, sometimes not being able to fly somewhere, and even canceling a vacation altogether. They are trying to make us win against ourselves and to lose to ourselves, as we unfortunately have already done twice at the beginning and the end of the 20th century. She's talking about Russia's collapse after World War I, and then the collapse of the Soviet Union. This is actually very honest. In Russian society, I think a majority of the people just say, I don't think about, I don't talk about, I don't care about politics. Putin can do whatever he wants. Anybody who goes to the SMO, they're just signing contracts. They're being paid well to go fight and die. So by Ukraine going after their airlines, this is disrupting summer holiday travel. For the ruling elite in Moscow and St. Petersburg, they like going to Sochi. They like going to Turkey. They like going to Dubai. And with all these flights being canceled, this is screwing up their summer vacation plans. These non-political people might have a political thought, and that is terrifying to Kremlin State TV. Here's the other big headline. Trump tightens Putin deadline, vows to shorten 50-day ultimatum to just 10 to 12 days. The US president has once again renewed his criticisms of Russia's attack on Ukrainian infrastructure and vowed to reduce the previously announced 50-day deadline to 10 or 12. I already know the answer. Trump to shorten Ukraine deadline for Putin to 10 to 12 days. Here's the clip. It's 20 seconds. Let's watch this together.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made.
Mr. President,
50 days was stupid, and 12 days is stupid. We know the answer. Putin does not want to stop this war. So what is Trump doing? And I think Trump is actually disappointed and annoyed that the Russians are ignoring him. Trump approved the sale of $10 billion of weapons purchased by the Europeans, but it's going to Ukraine. He then said 50 days to end the war, otherwise increase sanctions, increase tariffs, secondary sanctions, secondary tariffs, whatever that means. And I think Trump is disappointed that Putin didn't respond personally. Putin has not issued a statement. Putin is not calling Trump. Putin is not engaging at all with him. He's just ignoring him, and that really upsets Trump. So by saying we'll do something in 12 days, this is once again 2-week taco Trump tacoing out. Will he actually issue tariffs and sanctions and do something in 12 or 10 days? I hope so, guys. But is there a chance he will be talked out of it And that's what Trump wants. Trump is looking for a reason to not do it. Kremlin says Putin-Trump meeting in China cannot be ruled out. Trump just wants the attention. He wants the spectacle. I hope he does something dramatic in 10 or 12 days, but if he just says the United States is going to put 100% tariffs on Russia, when the United States only imports about $3 billion worth of goods, that's not going to do anything. Trump has to issue sanctions and tariffs on India, on China, on any country doing business with the Russians for it to have a real impact. What is President Zelensky's response? Clear stance and expressed determination by President Trump right on time, when a lot can change through strength for real peace. I thank President Trump for his focus on saving lives and stopping this horrible war. Ukraine remains committed to peace and will work tirelessly with the United States to make both our countries safer, stronger, and more prosperous. Let's just pause for a second, because this is where we were 3 months ago. 3 months ago, Trump was calling Zelensky a dictator. He said Ukraine owed the United States $500 billion, and he kicked him out of the White House. That was 3 months ago. So we are making progress. Trump has changed his language. Will we ever get to the level of support that we need to make Russia stop this war? I hope so, guys. What is Russia's response? Here's Dmitry Medvedev. Trump's playing the ultimatum game with Russia. 50 days or 10, he should remember two things. Russia isn't Israel or even Iran. Each new ultimatum is a threat and a step towards war, not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. So this is Russia threatening war with the United States and comparing Trump to Sleepy Joe Biden. I don't think either of these things is going to improve the situation for Russia. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham's response to those in Russia who believe that President Trump is not serious about ending the bloodbath between Russia and Ukraine. You and your customers will soon be sadly mistaken. You will also soon see that Joe Biden is no longer president. Get to the peace table. And Dmitry Medvedev responded to him. It's not for you or Trump to dictate when to get at the peace table. Negotiations will end when all the objectives of our military operation have been achieved. Work on America first, Gramps? Gramps? Dmitry Medvedev is 59 years old. Senator Lindsey Graham is 70 years old. Can a 59-year-old call a 70-year-old Gramps? In the meantime, guys, the strikes on Ukraine continue. 23 killed, 54 injured in Russian attacks on Ukraine over the past day. This was the night of the 28th. Russia launched 331 drones and missiles. Here's what Yulia has to say. She's Ukraine's new prime minister. The scale of these terror attacks is only growing as Russians build more facilities for the production of drones and missiles, as Russia and its partners still face insufficient consequences for their actions. They continue to take this as confirmation, broadening the scope of their plans, which now extend far beyond Ukraine. And despite Ukrainian families being targeted night after night, we continue to hold the line, holding back this terror coalition, learning to check incoming missile reports in the way other European nations check weather forecasts. This has become our reality. So in the last couple of videos, I've been sharing with you stories and headlines, how we're trying to fix this problem. Russia planning to launch 500 or 1,000 Shahed drones against civilian cities every night. Here's another story. It's unprecedented. US-German firm is shipping 33,000 AI-powered strike kits. As part of a US package to Ukraine, a company will provide Kyiv with tens of thousands of AI-powered weapon systems that will replace manual drone operators and reportedly cannot be jammed. There's a lot of brilliant engineers and tech companies trying to find a solution to this problem. We are in a race against time to save lives. And I do have faith in Western companies, Western innovation, that we're going to find a solution relatively soon. This is just one component. It's going to be a grab bag of many solutions to make Russia stop. But once we have the counter and the solution, Russia has to stop because they won't be successful in any way. There's also this. Hawk missiles are old but reliable. Ukraine wants every one of the 40,000 America has stockpiled. To strengthen Ukraine's air defenses against Russia, Ukraine wants more Hawk missiles. Now, the MIM-23 Hawk air defense system, this is very old. It went into service in 1959, went through an upgrade in 1971, and was basically decommissioned by the US military in 1994. We still have it in our inventory, but we don't think it's good enough for the United States military to use. But to shoot down a Shahed drone, this works just fine. So Ukraine is asking the United States, how many of these Hawk missiles do you have? How many are you willing to sell to us? You're not making any more. You don't use this in your own military anymore. So this is something I think Ukraine is looking into. And it's another component, guys, to find a solution. Let's get to the bad news for Russia. Moscow cancels Navy Day parade in St. Petersburg as nearly 100 drones were downed in western Russia. Putin has officially canceled Navy Day. This is usually held in the Baltic Sea, St. Petersburg. And he's just paranoid about being assassinated. If it's known when and where he'll be outside, he thinks he's going to die to a drone, which honestly Ukraine is attempting to do. Here's, I guess, a sad story. This was posted by the Russians. This Russian soldier's name is Vitaly Kichagin from the city of Gaya in Orenburg. He signed a contract to join the Russian military on April 7th, and he died in the combat zone on April 13th. 6 days. He signed a contract, was processed, went through training, made it to the front lines, and was killed. He speed-run the war. That's bad. Resistance never sleeps. Ukrainian partisans strike Russian rail and freeze ammo convoys. This has been the focus of Ukraine for the last couple weeks. They are really going after Russia's rail networks. Russia's Volgograd railway power substation burns after a night drone raid. There's lots of videos online of these attacks this is the Krasnodar and Rostov regions, but partisans in Russia, as well as Ukrainian drones, are going after anything on rails. Locomotives, fuel trucks, switching stations. I'll link these videos down below if you want to see stuff on fire. But this is definitely a coordinated effort to try and cripple the rail network in southern Russia. Ukrainian forces are methodically crippling the Russian rail network infrastructure in the Rostov and Volgograd regions. In the past 2 or 3 days, strikes in the Russian towns of Salsk, Orlovsky, and Oktyabrsk, with devastating results, all have been observed. I know Operation Spiderweb was pretty amazing to see, but this is equally as important. Russia runs on rails, and now their airports are pretty much paralyzed, so Russia's got serious problems. This all adds up. Russian coal exports to China are down 25% in the first half of 2025. Russia's coal mining industry is looking for a bailout because they're all going bankrupt. And yeah, if their rail networks are breaking down, they're not getting their coal out. As Russia burns billions on war against Ukraine, Minsk-depending economy is approaching its bottom. An 8.1% drop in farming and a 70% plunge in exports to Russia choke the economy of Moscow's satellite. This makes sense. This is something I didn't think about. Lukashenko has been acting kind of strange the last couple months, and I think I figured it out. If there's going to be an economic collapse of Russia, Belarus is the canary in the coal mine. Belarus will economically collapse first. There are reports that Belarus is bankrupt, and they need a bailout from Russia. But Russia needs to do their own bailouts for themselves. So if we're close to Russia economically collapsing, Belarus is going to happen first. And Putin's not going to save Belarus. Putin is not going to save Lukashenko. Inflation is terrible. Their economy is dying. I think this is why Lukashenko released those opposition figures and has been trying to normalize relations, at least with the Trump administration. He's been trying to talk to people, and he's looking for an out. If things economically get bad in Russia, they'll be worse in Belarus first, and Lukashenko is just trying to survive. Where I'm going with this, guys, is watch Belarus. If Belarus wobbles and collapses first, Russia won't be far behind. This is a sad story. I don't want to see civilians suffering, but in the Donbas region, these are the occupied territories. They no longer have running water in their water systems. So they're reliant on water trucks bringing fresh water to the cities, to the people. But because of corruption and mismanagement, the people of the Donbas region under Russian occupation are not getting enough water to survive. So these are locals in the city of Donetsk filming their children, begging President Putin to supply more water to the area.
Я верю, что вы мудрый и сильный. Дядя президент, подарите нам самое простое чудо – воду в наших домах.
Вода – это так просто, а для нас это роскошь. Мы, дети, должны бегать, смеяться, а не ждать, пока нам привезут воду. Дядя Вова, помогите нам. Мамы, друзья, деток, без воды так сложно. Дядя президент, помогите нам.
Каждое утро я просыпаюсь и надеюсь, что из крана идет вода. Но ее нет. Дядя президент, мы верим в вас. Помогите детям Донбасса.
These are all Ukrainian children. These are all Ukrainian citizens that have been under Russian occupation for 11 years now. The city of Donetsk was one of the richest cities in Ukraine prior to the Russians taking control of it. And because of corruption and mismanagement, the city is in ruins. Their male population of military age has been annihilated. The remaining elderly, women and children don't have running water. It's a disaster. Unidentified drone enters Lithuania from Belarus amid rising tensions. This is a Russian Shahed drone launched from Belarus that went off course, probably deliberately, and flew over Lithuania.
What the fuck?
Where did it go? Where did it land? And I'm guessing it either flew out to the Baltic Sea or it went to Kaliningrad. Why did Russia do this? Just to test NATO, see what NATO would do. This is bad news. This is the day I feared, but the Russians are now using horses on the front lines. We've seen horses before in the war zone, but behind the front lines. And this is a Russian soldier about to be taken out by a Ukrainian FPV drone with a horse carrying supplies that he wanted to bring closer to the front line. So let's check in with our channel fundraiser, guys, titled Save the Donkeys, but we can now say Save the Horses. To the 8,652 heroes who have donated, thank you so much. We have fundraised together $865,000. If you haven't kicked in yet, if you haven't donated, the average donation amount you can see from these numbers is about $100. A lot of people going for the patches, but we need more small-time donors to reach our $1 million fundraising goal. So if you're on the fence and you're still thinking about kicking in, I'm going to ask you directly, if you can kick in 10 or 20 bucks to help us close out this fundraiser, I know you guys can do it. If you can't donate, don't worry. You're still part of this community. I still appreciate you. I thank you for continuing to support Ukraine. You guys are all terrific. For contrast to how children in Russia are treated, I want to share this clip of President Zelensky. He visited the School of Superheroes at one of the hospitals in the Kyiv region. This is what he says. We had a sincere, grown-up conversation about dreams, hobbies, supporting our defenders, and bringing peace closer. I'm grateful to the children for this heartfelt talk. I want to share a little bit of this clip of President Zelensky visiting this hospital.
Ми починали з нею реабілітацію. Розкажіть.
Давай, ось сюди. І є большая клюшка. Клюшка мама. Бери.
Тут проходять дітки нам на заняття різного віку. Точно молоді, піднімечка. А зараз чайте. Розкажіть, будь ласка, направо, права нога. Ну, рухай, це воно щось не запужається. Довго переступай ногами.
Привіт. Вибачте, ми так припинили ваш освітній процес.
Дітки, а розкажіть, будь ласка, як вам тут?
В супершколі дуже приємно і комфортно. Іноді навіть, чесно, стресую, бо...
Йдемо сюди? Є. Тепер як вимкнути?
Зверху на хрестик.
That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.